While we're waiting on this short recess, I would like for if you have cell phones to silence them or cut them off while we're doing this meeting. And if you have to answer a call or make a call, will you step out of the chamber room, please? Now this meeting will be called in order again. We have invocation by Elder Malcolm Dixon.
Grace and peace. Let us bow our heads. God, we come to tell you thank you. God, we thank you for your goodness. God, we thank you for your mercy. We come before you tonight with gratitude and humility. Thank you for allowing us to gather once again for this commissioner meeting. We ask for your wisdom, guidance, and understanding to rest upon every leader, every voice, and every decision made tonight. Lord, give us clarity where there is confusion, unity, where there is division and peace, where there is tension, God. Mend our hearts, God. Help each commissioner to lead with integrity, fairness, and compassion for all the people they serve. Let us discuss, be respectful, every decision, be thoughtful, and every action reflect what is best for the entire community. Father, we thank you. We ask that you give us guidance, guide our hearts to listen more than we speak, to seek solutions rather than conflict, and to move forward with purpose and corporation. Bless this meeting tonight. Bless every person. God bless our community as a whole, God. God, this country is a world full of trouble and so much division. But God, you are the God of peace. God, you are the God of love. So God, we invoke upon your presence on tonight to say thank you. Thank you for your goodness. Thank you for your mercy. Thank you just for giving us life, health, and strength. Thank you just for giving us grace when we don't even deserve it. God, we give you praise. God, we even thank you for the resurrection of our Lord Savior Jesus Christ, for he died on Calvary cross just for us. And he got up with all power so that we may get up. And we give you praise in Jesus' name. And I know this may be a little unorthodox. Can we just clap our hands and thank God for God being God at one time? 1, 2, 3, clap your hands. All right. Hallelujah. I know everybody ain't church, but we clap our hands like this. Come on, can you clap your hands? In Jesus' name, amen.
Now we do the pledge allegiance of the flag.
So moved. Second.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize. I got stung by the conversation out there on the floor, and I've lost focus. But I apologize. It's been moved to second, so now have now you can speak. We'll call for public comments. Any public comments? If there be none, we'll move on to we we'll move on to the vote. A voice vote will be, all in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. So said we all is unanimous. We'll move on to special presentation.
We have to approve reading of proposed ordinances and resolutions by title only.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Approval reading of the proposal or resolution by title only.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved to second. And now we will have comments.
Vote. Vote.
Oh, did it? We already did comments. No one had comments. Okay, we'll vote. We'll,
Aye.
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 and I say aye. Now we'll move on. We'll move on to A.
Good evening, Mayor Commission, Mr. Valadares, Mr. Walker. My name is Sarah Malone, Human Resources Director, here to introduce the annual check presentation from Miapa Latin Cafe. As you know, they partnered with us for many, many years to make a donation. The event is called Stick a Fork in Cancer. It's very successful. Vice Mayor Shirley Green Brown, we missed you dearly, but I know you were there with us in spirit. As always, we've had a wonderful time. The donation this year, just so you're aware, came just shy of $2,800. And I think it should also be noted that over $400 of that were donation of tips from the actual servers that day. So I think that's quite commendable.
Yay.
And here with us, we have representatives from the restaurant as well as the American Cancer Society. And Mr. Freddie Wiebe is here. I'll open the mic to anyone who'd like to speak. And then I believe they'd like to have a photo op with you all for the check presentation. Thank you.
I see my favorite servers here.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, Chairs, City Manager, I just want to say thank you for allowing us to do this and work with MIAPA for 14 years. They've been serving the city of Alachua, and they've grown and moved because of the support that the city has given them. You know, the Good Life community can only be good when businesses and private help and work together with officials and city and residents. And it's great to see Cause Marketing. I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to help Mr. Peter Inigo and his team do this. This is their restaurant, their event, and to really see Cause Marketing work together again and every year to grow the funding and give back to a great cause. And American Cancer Society is the best thing in the world. You know, Cause Marketing is the main ingredient of success in every city in America. And thank you for allowing me to help put Miapa Latin Cafe and the city together in a project and see it thrive again. Peter?
Thank you, Freddie. Everyone here who participated at this event, thank you so much for being part of it. I know we're missing a couple that also participated, especially the police department. This is one of the events that we look forward to, and the staff is always gets excited. I think it's one of our most successful events that we hold, and we're very proud of it. Thank you for the support. Thank you for allowing us to be part of the city and allowing us to grow part here. I know Vanessa and her team, it's so excited to be here. So thank you so much for everything.
Hi, Kyle Stone with the American Cancer Society. I just want to thank everyone for the partnership. The city, the MIAPA, American Cancer Society, Freddie and his marketing, it was amazing. But I also want to add that in addition to Stick a Fork in Cancer, and you call it Fork Cancer, MIAPA also participates in our Men Wear Pink program. They've come out to my golf course and provided meals. Peter has raised money for our Men Wear Pink campaign. So it is not just this event. They are with us all year long, and we appreciate it. Thank you.
I just wanted to say thank you to Freddie Wiebe and to Peter and Vanessa. They've done this for several years. The American Cancer Society with cancer is very important to me through many in my family and many of friends and stuff, and love working with Kyle. So I just want to say thank you so much for doing this year after year. And I would like to get a picture of really the chamber, because I had them, if any of them are here, well, there was some there, and all of us together, because a lot of them worked it. And you too, Jesse, because he worked on it too. Thank you.
Since there's so many, you all can stay up top, and we'll have them download. Put your heads in between theirs. I'm missing something. Slide down, Commissioner Williams. Slide down a little bit more so everyone can fit. Looks good. Big smiles on 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I do have a comment on this. This was my first year attending this, and it was amazing. Just seeing like the city staff and MIAPA staff and our fellow commissioners just tackle this so head on. It's I used to work in the service industry, and it's as hectic as I remember it, but having a great cause to do it behind, it's amazing. And I learned how to make the coffee. I'm not the fastest, and I have not been able to perfect it at home. So I guess I gotta keep going back until I can do that.
I'll give you the coffee job anytime, anytime.
I did hear you can make a cafe
He-
con leche.
He
That's
was
what I
doing
heard.
it that
Yeah.
morning. Coffee's the morning for sure.
Well, I missed it this year. But Freddie, let me tell you, I was so excited to go. I went the day before.
Yes, you did.
I did.
Yeah.
So next year I'll be ready.
Well, thank you once again. We'll move to item B.
Good evening, Mayor Commission, Mr. Valadares, Mr. Walker, Tara Malone, Human Resources Director again. The item before you this evening is the Florida League of Cities Hometown Health Award for fiscal year 24-25. The City of Alachua has been awarded for the 5th consecutive year the Florida Municipal Insurance Trust FMIT Hometown Health Award for fiscal year 24-25. Our FMIT membership qualifies us to participate in this program. It encourages community wellness, employee wellness, and overall just well-being. So there's certain criteria and thresholds. You have to have less than an 80% loss ratio. You have to have 50% or more participate in tier one, and I believe 25%, is that right? Or more tier two. And we've exceeded those with the exception of the loss ratio. So joining us this evening are FMIT Health Marketing Manager Lindsay Fisher and Hometown Health Manager Gwen Mahabir. And the recommended action for this evening is to accept the presentation of $25,000 Hometown Health Award from the Florida Municipal Insurance Trust. And I believe this is also another photo op. I'll open the floor to them. Thank you.
All right. Well, good evening, Mr. Mayor, commissioners. Thank you for having us. Again, like Tara said, this is the 5th year that you guys have received it, and the 3rd year of getting the check for $25,000. We have only been doing that for 3 years, and Alachua actually is the only city across the entire state that has gotten it all 3 years that we've been giving out the $25,000. So it really is amazing. It's a testimony to Cap and his team and the HR team, really getting behind your employees with their wellness. Keeping your loss ratio down under 80% is no easy task. And so to do it for 3 years in a row is fantastic. Like Tara said, there are some steps that you need to do to get the award. So Alachua had less than the 80% loss ratio this past year. They had 67% of their employees participate in the Tier 1 program, and that's where they come out and do a screening at City Hall for your employees. And then they had 36% of employees participate in Tier 2. So that's taking it the additional step, earning $100, doing challenges, working with a health coach, all sorts of things that we offer through the WebMD portal and Gwen and her team. So again, just a huge congratulations to Cap and his HR team for really pushing this and pushing hometown health in here. And I know Gwen has a few words to say as well.
Yes, it's always a pleasure to come out here every year and be able to present this check to you guys. The in the very beginnings, we've been with FMIT now for 13 years. It is quite remarkable to see a city get their employees together, get them excited, enthusiastic about taking care of themselves. It's not the easiest thing to do. A lot of times we come to work and the main priority is, okay, boss, what do I have to get done today? What things are out there in the community that we need to check off the list? Are we staying on task with that? But at the same time, it's important for us as an employee to take that moment and like, am I okay? Because if we're not okay, how do we continue to bring our best selves to work? So Cap, Tara, Lisa, Wesley, they have led that charge into making sure that employees are reminded, hey, there is a screening event coming. Please take the time. It only takes 15 minutes. Do your online health assessment. Let's check off all these boxes with you to make sure you are good. And if you're not good, here are the tools and resources that are provided to you through FMIT and the Hometown Health Wellness Program. We have health coaching, we have wellness challenges, we have webinars, anything and everything you can think of under that wellness umbrella where someone could find something useful to themselves, we would have a resource there. And a lot of the times it's not easy to get people to move away from their desk or out of the field to come in to do those things. So it is crucial for our team here that we work really close with, hand in hand, to get that message out for us. Because again, those are the team members they trust, and they're like, yeah, this is a program that truly and honestly has you as the reason why we're here to begin with. So we want to continue this movement. And we look forward to coming out here another year. So thank you so much, you all.
Cap, if you want to come up. I was going to ask if compliance or risk would like to come in the HR department.
Come on, Wes.
Yes, the front row. I think the back row is okay. Yes, and then be
be sure your head is between someone so I can get gorgeous face. Good. Big smiles on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Great job. Great job, HR.
Excellent job. And before I move on, I would like to apologize. It seemed like this is a clapping meeting. So you're welcome to clap. Okay. Now we will move to public comments. Is there any public comments? If not, we'll go to item 4.
Is this public comment?
Oh, yeah, yes.
Perfect. Good evening, Mayor, Vice, Commissioners, Michelle Lee. Tonight I am, what hat do I have on? Alachua Business League. I just want to say thank you for you guys who came out. The manager, Fletcher, and Commissioner Williams joined us Friday night. Looking forward to the rest of you finding your favorite genre. But we are definitely grateful and just want to remind you, and please tell your friends and family to come out. And those of you in the audience behind, if you haven't heard about the amazing community concerts on Skinner Field, we would love to have you. So thank you so much. Have a nice evening.
I'm very excited. I did sit in the car and it started raining, so I left.
The mayor stepped out. Any other public comments? All right. All right. I don't think we have any committee appointments tonight.
No, Vice Mayor, no committee appointments.
All right. Number 4, public hearing and ordinances.
Madam Vice Chair, this is a quasi-judicial matter, so if our city clerk can come in and swear in any of the witnesses that intend to testify this evening.
Thank you, sir. We can't hear you.
Please stand if you intend to speak on this item and raise your right hands. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
And next we'll vote our commissioners, starting with Commissioner Williams. Do you have any information, if you had any contact, communication outside of this proceeding that would affect your vote here?
None.
None.
No.
No.
And with that, we are ready to proceed.
Alrighty. Good evening, Madam Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, City Attorney, Carson J. Crockett, Principal Planner for the City of Alachua. My resume is on file in the Office of the Deputy City Clerk, and I've been sworn in. This hearing is a quasi-judicial hearing, application number PPP24-0004, known as the Highland Hills Major Subdivision Preliminary Plat. The item is a request by EDA Consultants Incorporated, applicant and agent on behalf of 10.47 LLC, and proposes the subdivision of an approximately 8.36 acre subject property into 38 single-family detached lots. That property is generally located south of US Highway 441 between I-75 and Northwest 147th Drive along Northwest 151st Boulevard. For those of you familiar with the area, it is at the dead end of Northwest 151st Boulevard, just down past City Hall. As provided for by the land development regulations, the applicant does have a presentation and will have the opportunity to present first, followed by anyone wishing to claim affected party status, and lastly, staff.
Good evening, Madam Vice Mayor and Commissioners and Mr. Mayor. I'm Clay Swager with EDA Consultants. Very privileged to be here tonight. I'd like to give you a brief presentation regarding this preliminary plat application. As Mr. Crockett mentioned, this property is just over 8 acres in size, just down the street from where we are tonight, off of Northwest 151st Boulevard. It consists of 3 parcels, or 2 parcels and a portion of another parcel in the urban area here in the city of Alachua. The land use designation on the property allows up to 8 units per acre, single family or multifamily, which based on the size of this property could yield up to 64 units by just density right. And the zoning is a compatible zoning of RMF 8, which is 8 units per acre as well. So that maximum of 64 units just based on your maps that are on the books today. The proposal, though, is for a single family detached and platted neighborhood at 38 units. So that's just above half of the density of what the zoning and land use map allows. And this preliminary plat has been brought to the city for review and for you all, hopefully, to approve based on compliance with all your land development code regulations and so forth. This property is unique in that it would tie into an existing stormwater basin that's already in place that serves that larger area. So there's no stormwater system proposed as part of this development project. This is a location map. Where we're sitting tonight is sort of in the bottom right corner at City Hall. Property at just over 8 acres is shown in that rectangular shape in red and is at the end of 151st Boulevard. We did have a neighborhood workshop. One adjacent property owner, it's actually the gentleman who owns some land to the north, attended, and he did think that residential would be a good idea. So he was supportive of the idea. And hopefully it'll come forward and be a very nice and compatible use in that area. This is another photo just a little bit closer in so you can see the property. 151 Place apartments are located to the southeast of this property, and Windswept Hills just a little bit further down. Those are all connected with sidewalks that the city has required over time or provided themselves. And this project would provide sidewalks internally and also connect to those sidewalks. So someone, if they were to live there, could walk to City Hall or the shops or downtown. So I think that's a really nice component. The preliminary plat is pretty simple. It does connect to 151st Boulevard, which is on the north side or the top side. They would build city streets within the project to meet all the city standards for drainage and the sidewalks. They actually would like to gate these streets because they're not connecting to a larger road network. The idea is this is a local builder and developer who's a physician by trade, and really his vision is to have this be housing for seniors 55 and up, right in the middle of town with all the proximity to amenities, and so hopefully it'll be a really nice addition. I know that there are some objectives and policies in the comp plan that support and encourage a provision of senior housing, and so this would be unique in that way. And hopefully be a really nice addition. Let's see. So as I mentioned, the application, based on your staff, and they will give you a report, but is consistent with all your codes and comprehensive plan. And they do recommend approval, which I greatly appreciate. We had the hearing with the Planning Zoning Board last month. Yes, last month, and they unanimously recommend approval as well. We appreciate that. We agree with the conditions that staff has brought forward just to make sure that the process goes in the right manner. This is a preliminary plat, so it would come back for construction plans and final plats. There's still some additional steps, but this would approve, if you see fit, the overall layout of the subdivision. Let us keep moving with this project. So with that, I'll conclude. Sergio Reyes is here. He's the engineer of record. If you have questions for him or myself, we'll be glad to answer them tonight. I appreciate the opportunity to speak. Thank you, sir.
Clay, I just have one quick
Yes, ma'am.
question on the housing, the just estimated pricing of what you guys are looking at for the housing in that at this time, or no?
I don't have that specific information.
Okay, I was just curious.
I could do a little research and get back to you on that. Yeah.
No worries.
Yeah. The idea of these homes, though, they would be a little bit on the smaller side, more affordable because they're not very large homes. You know, a lot seniors typically don't need, you know, they don't have 5 kids in the house. You know, so it's more manageable, compact, and hopefully to on the more affordable end as well.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question for staff for this one. I believe, and I think it was shown on this on the slides. There's a curb cut going up through 151, right? And the primary entrance for this development is coming from 151. Is that correct? Like the road that's out in the front.
The apartment complex or the road?
So you have the road right there, right?
Yes.
And then you have the offshoot where it goes up to the apartment complex. On that road, and I think you have it marked there. It's hard to see on that. There's a curb cut, and it seems like you're connecting directly into that. Is that correct? Is that what's happening here?
Are you speaking of this access point?
So that's on what I'm assuming is the road that goes all the way in front of the 151 apartments.
This is the existing extent of 151st place.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where they're proposing to connect, is at the very end of that extent.
And then if you go down that road and you take a left
here,
right there.
Yes,
right?
this is an existing driveway apron. Yes.
Is that will that be a connection?
It will be gated for emergency access only.
Okay. The second thing is that specific area, there's a steep, I would say, topological shift as it goes down into what you would just see more as like the cow pasture plain area.
Mm-hmm.
The ways, my understanding on the ways you rectify that is you bring in a boatload of dirt, or you have to do adjustments. What is the staff's vision on addressing those?
So we have plenty of comp plan policies and land development regulations that require to keep the natural topography as much as practicable. This is at a stage where they have not proposed any grading at this time, but this does generally flow with how you would see a subdivision on a hillside of any topography. You'd have the roadway follow the topographical line as much as possible so that you're grading as least as possible.
Okay, I just want to get these questions as much answered as possible because it's my understanding that this is the last time we'll see this as commissioners.
Mr. Mayor, that's correct. The construction plans and final plat are administrative approval.
So following that, so we don't know what's the remediation on dealing with that slope.
Mr. Mayor, no, that would be reviewed at time of construction plans. If you would like, I could go forward with my presentation, see if I answer any of your questions up front, just to.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. If I could have staff's presentation, please. Thank you. Good evening again, Carson J. Crockett for the record. As we've already heard, this is an item is a request by EDA Consultants Incorporated on behalf of 10.47 LLC, which proposes subdivision land into 38 residential, single-family detached residential lots. Here, of course, is the subject property overview. For reference, we have 75 off to the west. Out of frame is 441 out this direction, or sorry, here. And then we have the Hitchcock Shopping Plaza. City Hall is behind this inlay map. Of note that I want to point out here is this is the existing TK basin that is the stormwater basin they propose to drain to, which they did receive an ERP modification for. This again is that proposed preliminary plat. I just want to be clear that because they are proposing a gated subdivision, that these roadways would remain private. The city typically will not let a public roadway be gated. That said, utilities will be provided with public utility easements, and I would note that the sidewalks on site, which include a mid-block or a sidewalk here, as well as a crossing across Northwest 151st, Those sidewalks would all remain publicly accessible and ungated. It's only the vehicle traffic that would be gated. And again, reaching back to Commissioner Fletcher's question, this would be primarily for emergency egress, and it would be gated as well. A neighborhood meeting was held on April 24th, 2020. Yes, April 24th, 2025. Mailed notice was sent to all property owners within 400 feet of the subject property, and notice was placed in a newspaper of general circulation. 2024. Yeah, okay. April 24th, 2024. Materials submitted by the applicant indicate that the meeting was attended by one member of the public who was in support of the application. Neighborhood meeting summary is available in the application materials. The application has been reviewed for consistency with the comprehensive plan, with specific goals, objectives, and policies that establish consistency being found in the future land use, transportation, housing, community facilities, and conservation open space elements, with a full evaluation available in the staff report. An environmental conditions analysis was conducted with the findings included in the staff report, of which there were staff noted no concerns related to the environmental features listed here on screen. Section 2.4.10 G3E establishes the standards with which all preliminary plats must be found compliant. The application has been reviewed for and been found to comply with all of the applicable standards of Section 2.4.10 G3E, and a full evaluation is available in the staff report. A public facilities analysis was conducted with the findings in the staff report. As previously mentioned, stormwater will be conveyed to an existing stormwater facility, and the ERP demonstrates that the level of service is met in that existing facility. There are no concerns related to the impact on level of service of any of these facilities listed here on screen. A preliminary plat is a preliminary development order, and as such, concurrency will be reevaluated at time of final plat approval. That brings us to the Planning and Zoning Board recommendation, where they voted on March 10th, 5-0, to transmit the application to the City Commission with a recommendation to approve, subject to the 6 conditions in Exhibit A of the staff report. Staff recommends that the City Commission find the application for the Highland Hills Major Subdivision Preliminary Plat submitted by EDA Consultants Incorporated on behalf of 10.47 LLC to be consistent with the City of Alachua Comprehensive Plan and in compliance with the City's land development regulations, and approve the application subject to the 6 conditions in Exhibit A and located on page 18 of the March 10th, 2026 staff report. That concludes staff's presentation. If Mr. Mayor, if Commissioner Fletcher has any more questions at this time, or any of the rest of you.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. So we got an exception to connect to the TK Basin setup. Is that's correct for the water?
I don't believe it's an exception, Mr. Mayor. I think they just got approval from the Swanee River Water Management District.
Okay, so they approved it. Okay.
Yes.
And you said there is no karst features within that area. Is that correct?
We did not. It is not in an area of high aquifer recharge potential, according to the Swanee River Water Management District, Mr. Mayor, and there were no potential or relic sinkholes known to exist on the subject property. I would also mention that the soils on site were generally conducive to single-family residential buildings without without basements.
And so, I guess the question is the TK Basin facility, is that something that the city manages?
Mr. City Manager can confirm that, but I believe so, as we assess taxes on it.
That's correct, Mr. Commissioner.
And so the allowance from the Swanee Water District Management District was just for them to connect to the TK Basin system.
Mr. Mayor, it would be for the impervious offset of the stormwater to go to the TK Basin. Yes.
Okay. So the reason why I bring this up is because we do, or you should know, is that the TK Basin itself sits actually over an entire karst system, including a cave system. And so my question is if, as we continue to build and develop, and we're pushing water into that area, especially runoff water from residential areas of this road, my concern is like how much are we adding on to that impact here? So that's what I'm trying to understand here. From our staff's perspective, we're saying there is or is not an impact to allow it to go this way, because I can understand how, over time we learn more, we learn and we grow. And as new information comes forward, we try to navigate and align ourselves to be more thoughtful. So my question on this is it's appropriate for us, if we know that TK Basin area is a karst, I would say heavy area that has a direct connection to a cave system, is it appropriate for us to have our water system, our runoff from impermeable surfaces, continuing to redirect that before we come up with a solution on how to actually address it for that area?
Mr. Mayor, I believe Commissioner Fletcher's question is better suited for a professional engineer. I can ask if the applicant would like to address that question, but I'm not qualified to answer your question, sir.
Mr. Mayor, Sergio Reyes, professional engineer. The TK Basin actually was designed to collect all this water, not just this project. It was designed also to collect additional runoff from the southwest of the TK Basin. If you live in City of Alachua for a period of long time, the TK Basin, it was constructed several years ago, and it has been accepting runoff naturally from this area already. So the permit that we got from the Water Management District, the only thing is confirmed that this basin was designed to accept runoff from this project. Allocated certain amount of area, certain amount of impervious goes there. It never has been presented a sinkhole or any cavity in this TK basin, even though it's accepting runoff today.
So if I go out to TK Basin, I wouldn't find a sinkhole
No, you won't. At this time.
at this time?
Right.
You sure?
100%.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
It's actually holding water, and that is the reason when it rains, and it hasn't rained in a long period of time. So yes. Any other question? I'll be glad to answer.
Mr. Mayor, I just have one question, and it could be either for Sergio or Carson, just regarding the sidewalks. I just wanted clarification. When Clay did the presentation, he mentioned the sidewalks. So there'll be sidewalks internally in the project and externally connecting to the existing sidewalk on 151?
Mr. Mayor, that's correct.
Okay.
And the internal road is going to have sidewalk on both sides of the internal road,
Okay.
and we're going to have a connection to the exterior and the exterior sidewalks.
To the existing side. Great. Okay.
Yep.
If there's no other
Mr. Mayor,
Okay.
and I guess again this goes back to staff. If it is determined that there are sinkholes in that area, and that's the basis for us running water to that area, is that there are no sinkholes, right? And it does turn out that there are sinkholes. What are the steps that we would take as a city to address that conflict?
Mr. Mayor, I believe the city manager would actually be more fit to answer that question.
Is the question to maintain the basin? Is that the question that's being asked?
Well, my understanding is that we're in agreement that water can be routed there based off the Swanee Water Management District assessment that there is no sinkholes or karst in that area that could be affected by having the runoff from this development, and that's why we're sending it there. But my question is if there is sinkhole and karst in that region, what do we do as a city now that we know this information? Do we have to go to the Swanee Water Management District and let them inform them that this is what's going on with that area? Because it sounds like we're approving this to have our runoff go into that basin because there is no karst activity in there, per the Swanee Water Management District's perspective.
Mr. Mayor, I would note that staff's data best available to us, which is provided by Alachua County, had not noted any potential sinkholes in that area whatsoever, and none of it is located in the high aquifer recharge area, hence staff's lack of concern. That's the same standard we use when evaluating any other project. As soon as we notice something, that's when we'll go for further evaluation per the comprehensive plan. As far as the comprehensive plan and land development regulations are concerned, the level of service is met. They got their ERP, which we can't condition approval upon, but they got it anyway. Therefore, the basin can take the runoff.
So this is something we got to take up with the Water Management District.
The Swanee River Water Management District has standards for remediating sinkholes and maintaining the ERP.
And just to be clear, Carson, it's already running off into the basin.
The natural flow of water is downhill into the basin today.
Thank you. I mean, if there's no...
Making a motion.
I'll make a motion, Mayor. I moved based I move based that upon the competent to substantial evidence that's presented before this commission and the staff's recommendation, this commission finds the applicant for the High Hills Major Subdivision, preliminary plat submitted by AA Consultants Incorporated on behalf of the 10.47 LLC to be consistent with the City of Alachua's comprehensive plan and in compliance with the city's land development regulations, and approve the application subject to the 6 conditions in Exhibit A and located on page 18 of March 10th, 2026 staff report.
Second.
Mr. Mayor, since you were not here for the process of voir dire and the commissioners, I would ask if you have any information that would sway your vote or make you biased in any way before you vote. Thank you.
It's been moved to second. Will we have public comments on the motion? If not, we'll move to vote. I'll start with Commissioner Fletcher.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Based on some of the questions that I don't have answers to, I do not feel comfortable approving this preliminary plat at this moment. So it will be a no. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Ringerson.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shirley.
Aye.
And I'm gonna hold up on this one until I can get some more clarification, understanding. So I'm gonna hold up as well. Right? So I'm gonna vote no. So it's 3-2. And so the majority votes have it. All right. We'll move to item B.
Alrighty. Good evening again, Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, City Attorney. Carson J. Crockett for the record. My resume is on file in the Office of the Deputy City Clerk. This hearing is a legislative hearing, application number PTAL 25-0002, known as an ADU text amendment to the Land Development Regulations, presented to you today as Ordinance 2606. The item is a request by Caleb Sapp of CNC Carpentry, LLC, on behalf of Terry Howard, a resident and property owner in the city of Alachua, to amend the land development regulations. The proposed text amendment is to section 4.4.4a relating to accessory dwelling units, also known as ADUs. I should note this is the second reading of Ordinance 2606. The amendment would increase the maximum size of an ADU, reduce the off-street parking requirement for an ADU, and provide clarifying language and general cleanup of section 4.4.4a. I would note that this amendment originated privately. However, staff had been looking at amending this section of the code already, and that proposed text amendment incorporates what staff wanted to do so we could do it all as one. The precise language of the text amendment is available in the staff report, but I want to focus on what the actual outcome is. Regarding ADU size, the current maximum is 33% of the principal dwelling unit, up to 800 square feet. The proposed maximum would be 40% of the principal dwelling unit, a modest increase up to 1,000 square feet total. Currently, the size of an ADU counts towards a property's detached structure allowance, and the proposed language would remove that. So if I have a shed on my property, that will eat into what my ADU can have currently today. We want to make it so it no longer eats into that allowance. Regarding parking, the current requirement is 1 per bedroom, not 1 per ADU, but 1 per bedroom, which is already a higher requirement than a principal dwelling, which is 2 per unit flat. The proposed requirement would be 1 parking space per ADU and establish a maximum parking limit of 2 spaces per ADU, which is in line with a maximum requirement that we have for all of our other uses. ADU is the only one that doesn't have a maximum currently. Further, under specific circumstances, the parking requirement could be met by an existing residential driveway, again, in certain circumstances. The application has been reviewed for consistency with the city's comprehensive plan. Specific goals, objectives, and policies that support the amendment are located in the future land use, transportation, housing, community facilities, and conservation open space elements. A full evaluation is available in the staff report. The application, Section 2.4.1E1 establishes standards with which all text amendments must be found compliant. The application has been reviewed for the standards of that section. I've already gone through these with you all, but I'll go again through them briefly. Consistency with the comprehensive plan, which we just went over. Staff has found the application or the amendment to be consistent with the comprehensive plan. Consistent with ordinances, the proposed text amendment does not conflict with any other provisions of the city's land development regulations or code of ordinances. Changed conditions. This is where we get the maximum size increase number from. The maximum size increase was based on the last decade of average home sizes in Florida. Because the ADU maximum size is a percentage of the house size, when trends downward happen in house size, trends downward happen in allowable ADU size. In 2016, the city's requirement would have allowed approximately 600 feet on average. Today, that same 33% would yield only 533 feet on average, and the trend is expected to continue downward in the coming years. Adjusting the allowable percentage from 33% to 40% accounts for this downward trend, and those are the changed conditions. Community need comes from the fact that this was submitted by a private resident of the city. Regarding the absolute size maximum, the applicant noted that 800 square feet is not always of sufficient size for ADUs serving intergenerational needs of families. Additionally, the applicant notes, and staff concurred, that the City of Alachua's 800 square foot absolute maximum is not comparable to the standards of peer communities in the surrounding region. Increasing the maximum size from 800 square feet to 1,000 square feet would fulfill a community need for more intergenerational housing and promote opportunities for a diversified and attainable housing stock within the community. I would note that even with these two size increases from the percentage and the absolute maximum, the City of Alachua would still have the most restrictive ADU requirements in Alachua County. Compatible with surrounding uses. The proposed text amendment does not alter existing residential protection standards and actually includes additional clarification of existing aesthetic design standards for compatibility. Development patterns. The text amendment does not alter where ADUs are currently permitted. Effect on natural environment. The proposed text amendment does not alter any existing environmental protections regarding ADUs and will not impact the natural environment. In public facilities, ADUs will continue to be required to connect to public facilities when they are available and as required by the zoning district or comprehensive plan. On March 10th, 2026, the Planning and Zoning Board voted 5-0 to transmit the application to the City Commission with a recommendation to approve. And on March 23rd, we had our first reading of Ordinance 26-06, where you as the City Commission voted 4-0 to adopt upon first reading and schedule second and final reading for today, April 6th. Staff recommends that the City Commission find the proposed text amendment to Section 4.4.4a of the City of Alachua Land Development Regulations to be consistent with the City of Alachua Comprehensive Plan and in compliance with the City's Land Development Regulations, and adopt Ordinance 26-06 upon second and final reading, which I will turn it over to Mr. City Attorney for second reading.
Mayor, this is ordinance number 26-06, an ordinance of the City of Alachua, Florida, relating to the amendment of Subpart B of the City of Alachua Code of Ordinances, Land Development Regulations, LDRs, amending Section 4.4.4, subparagraph A, relating to accessory dwelling unit standards, providing a repealing clause, providing severability, and providing an effective date. The appropriate motion at the appropriate time is to pass ordinance number 26-06 upon its second reading by title only.
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. That concludes staff's presentations. I'm available to answer any questions you may have. The applicant and their agent is also present. They do not have a presentation, but if you have any questions of them, they're available.
Um, Thank you, Carson. One of the things I just want to clarify here, the accessory dwelling units, can they be rented out?
Mr. Mayor, we currently have no control over renting of accessory dwelling units, and I believe there may have been, I'd have to double check, but I believe there may have been some state legislation preempting our control over how those get rented out, but I'd have to look.
Okay, so because I just want to make sure that we're not using these accessory dwelling units as a way to bypass our, I guess, density requirements. Because I believe on the table it shows we can go all the way up to residential 6, correct? For these accessory dwelling units.
That would be correct, Mr. Mayor, yes.
And so an accessory dwelling unit, when it's in a zone for that, for each unit, they're able to add on an accessory dwelling unit. So if it's 6 and the space allows, they can put 6 additional dwelling units on it.
Theoretically speaking, that is correct, Mr. Mayor, but that is not a changed condition. That is a current allowance today.
Okay. So, well, if it's a current, maybe that's something we should take a look at. So what we can do here is we can have, say, a 6 or a 3 or whatever, and then we can add dwelling units. And since the principal use of both, right, could be owned by the same person, and their usage could be the same, we could boost that numbers from 6 units per acre to 12.
Mr. Mayor, again, theoretically, if you had 6 separately platted lots that had enough space for that, theoretically, we have other standards you'd have to meet. In practice, I don't see that happening, but theoretically, yes.
Okay. Is that, how would we address that? Like, say that is something we just want to, tighten up our codes. How would we address that?
Mr. Mayor, and I would refer to the city attorney on this, in the world of Senate Bill 180, I don't know if we could.
Senate Bill 180 was regarding restrictive due to hurricanes, correct?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
And there hasn't been a hurricane in a year.
I'd have to check the current emergency. It's not about the hurricanes, it's about the emergency declarations and how long those toll for, and those continuously are extended well past the hurricane ending.
So we would have to have staff to review when that was last done and see what we can pass. Until then, we can only expand what people are allowed to do versus like we have our comp plan coming up. Like, does that mean like we have to expand our comp plan, or we just cannot change it?
Mr. Mayor, we're not required to expand anything. The concern does come when you make something more restrictive. It doesn't mean you can't. It just, again, I would refer to the city attorney on this. You open yourself up for some challenges.
And I guess, Mr. Mayor, this is a question for this city manager. We have the, I believe it's the comp plan review that's coming up. Can you elaborate on that for the public and myself?
Carson, do you mind doing it?
Of course.
Mr. Chair, I'm a bit under the weather, so my voice is.
Yep. So, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners, we are currently undergoing our evaluation and appraisal process of the City of Alachua Comprehensive Plan 2030-2035. Every 7 years, a minimum of every 7 years, every municipality or governing body that adopts a comprehensive plan in the state of Florida is required to go through and evaluate and update it. The principal reason for an evaluation and appraisal is to make sure it still complies with state statute and that your data backing the comprehensive plan is updated. Now, of course, you can also do other updates as part of this, and we plan to look through. That's why we have multiple public engagement opportunities coming up in your joint workshop with the Planning and Zoning Board on April 28th, I believe it is, where you'll get a chance to review that. We really want to focus on the vision element of the comprehensive plan this go around. We're erring on the side of caution when it comes to revising the rest of the comprehensive plan, hoping that in the future it'll become more feasible to do a full rewrite.
Thank you. Thank you. Excellent explanation.
Question.
Mr. Mayor, If there's no other questions, I'm prepared to make a motion.
The motion, yes.
Okay. All right. I move that based upon the presentation before this commission and staff's recommendation, this commission find the proposed text amendment to section 4.4.4A of the City of Alachua Land Development Regulations to be consistent with the City of Alachua Comprehensive Plan and in compliance with the city's land development regulations, and adopt ordinance 26-06 upon second and final reading.
I'll second that.
It's been moved to second. Do we have any public comments on the motion? If not, we'll take a vote. I'll start with Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Based on the current economic conditions over I guess it's no longer current, it's historic since COVID. Affordable housing, and when I mean affordable, I mean like actually like affordable to everybody. There's been a big issue with that, and so we've seen more generational families trying to having to share the same living space, and coming from a family that is dealing with that, having additional dwelling units does a great thing for family cohesiveness by providing that separate area, because I don't living with your father-in-law or your mother-in-law or that there's a lack of privacy that comes with that, and a lot of people, and again I believe the applicant mentioned this, it really helps with supporting that during these times. But what I hope is that after this we can go back and look at tightening up how these things are used, because I don't want these things to be used in a way that goes against the intent of what we're trying to do here. But with that, Mr. Mayor, I'll say aye.
Vice Mayor?
Aye.
I'll say aye.
I'm sorry. And I say aye as the mayor. We'll move to item C.
Good evening once again, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, City Attorney. This is the last time you have to hear from me tonight. Carson J. Crockett, Principal Planner for the City of Alachua. For the record, my resume is on file in the Office of the Deputy City Clerk. This hearing is also a legislative hearing, application number PTAL 26-0001, known as Certified Recovery Residence Text Amendment to the Land Development Regulations, presented to you today for second and final reading as Ordinance 26-07. This item is a staff-initiated text amendment to Article 2 and Article 10 of the Land Development Regulations, and the text amendment is to comply with Florida Statutes 397.487, which was amended last year. The amended statute requires that local governments establish a process for certified recovery residences to receive a reasonable accommodation from any standard in the Land Development Regulations that seeks to prohibit their establishment. As such, staff, in coordination with the City Attorney's Office, has proposed the establishment of Section 2.4.25, which creates an administrative process with appeal recourse to the Board of Adjustment for the granting of reasonable accommodations for certified recovery residents. This section is tacked at the end of our in detail processes for administrative and quasi-judicial and other legislative hearing items, and is modeled after those to be consistent with them. In doing so, staff had to establish a definition for certified recovery residents, which is simply the state's definition, and that's where the Article 10 amendment comes into play. For all other purposes of the Land Development Regulations, certified recovery residences would be governed by the standards of community residential homes or group homes. And when you hear certified recovery residents, that's what I want you to think of, as that's the way our code currently handles them. We're already in pretty good shape compared to some other communities on this. We're just tightening up some loose ends with the statute change. The application has been reviewed for consistency with the city's comprehensive plan. Specific goals, objectives, and policies that support the amendment are located in the housing element, and a full evaluation is available in the staff report. Section 2.4.1E1 establishes standards with which all text amendments must be found compliant. The application has been reviewed for compliance with the findings in the staff report, and I will briefly go through each of those now. We just went over consistency with the comprehensive plan. Consistent with ordinances, we have drafted this in a way that would not conflict with any other provision of our land development regulations or code of ordinances. The changed condition is the change to state statute. The community need is to comply with the state statute. Compatible with surrounding uses. The proposed text amendment does not alter any standards relating compatibility. The only thing that might happen is if someone were to get a reasonable request granted against the compatibility standards, but we can't do anything about that given that that is part of the state statute. So that would preempt our standard on that. Same thing goes with development patterns. The text amendment does not alter where certified recovery residences are currently permitted. Effect on natural environment. The proposed text amendment does not alter existing environmental protection standards and will not impact the natural environment. Public facilities, community residential homes, and certified recovery residences and group homes, whatever you want to call them, will still be required to connect to public facilities as applicable by the zone district and city's comprehensive plan. On March 10th, 2026, the Planning and Zoning Board voted 5-0 to transmit the amendment, to the City Commission with a recommendation to approve. And on March 23rd, 2026, the City Commission voted 4-0 to adopt Ordinance 26-07 upon first reading, which brings us to today, where staff recommends that the City Commission find the proposed text amendment to Articles 2 and Article 10 of the City of Alachua Land Development Regulations. I apologize, that is a copy and paste error from the last presentation, to be consistent with the City of Alachua Comprehensive Plan and in compliance with the city's land development regulations, and adopt Ordinance 26-07 upon second and final reading. Your recommended motion in your packet should be correct.
Mr. Mayor, with that, I'll go ahead and read the ordinance. This is Ordinance 26-07, an ordinance of the City of Alachua, Florida, relating to the amendment of Subpart B of the City of Alachua Code of Ordinances, Land Development Regulations, LDRs, amending Article 2, establishing Section 2.4.25, relating to the reasonable accommodation for certified recovery residences, amending Article 10, establishing a definition for certified recovery residences, providing a repealing clause, providing severability, providing an effective date. The appropriate motion is to pass ordinance number 26-07 upon a second reading by title.
And that concludes staff's presentation. Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. If you have any questions for me, I'm available to answer those at this time.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. The question for the city attorney, is this the same ordinance you guys did with the city of High Springs?
I believe it is.
Mr. Mayor, it is not the same exact ordinance.
I did not review that.
Yeah.
Garston, what was the main differences?
So, Mr. Mayor, the main difference is that our code already included a lot of provisions for community residential home and group home. We didn't want to have to strip all of those out or have duplicative use types. So ours focused solely on the reasonable accommodation portion and making sure it fit our existing formatting of Article 2. Whereas I believe the High Springs version, and Mr. City Attorney can correct me if I'm wrong, had to deal with also introducing the use type altogether, if I'm not mistaken.
And then I guess, Mr. Mayor, for clarification for the publics, if the city attorney would be able to just elaborate more on, like, I guess the intent of this state legislation on like what this this bill is doing. Because the summary talks about like what we're specifically changing, but I think it misses the overall picture of what this actually means when we're voting on this.
Mr. Mayor, this is a statute, Florida statute, that allows for the certification of these recovery residences. And it basically states that individuals that are in recovery have to meet certain criteria. They have to have a whole certain list of requirements that they meet. There has to be background checks on these residents, such as if they're a sexual predator or a sexual offender. That has to be noted and listed in the residences that are involved in this sort of thing. So it's the idea that these people are in recovery and need a place to stay, and it allows for these certified type facilities to be involved in the housing. So that's basically what it does.
Just one last clarification point. This is a state mandate.
It is a state. That is correct.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion, Mr. Mayor. I move that based upon the presentation before this commission and staff's recommendation, this commission finds the proposed text amendment to Article 2 and Article 10 of the City of Alachua Land Development Regulations to be consistent with the City of Alachua Comprehensive Plan and in compliance with the city's land development regulations, and adopt Ordinance 26-07 upon second and final reading.
I'll second.
It's been moved to second. Is there any public comments on the motion? If not, we'll move to a vote. I'll start with Commissioner Fletcher.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Because this is, again, state mandates on how we can operate as a municipality, and this is to achieve compliance, I will be voting aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye. Aye.
Commissioner Vinkinson.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shirley Brown.
Aye.
And I know I'm going to swing the vote. I'm going to vote no on this one as well. Because of a little bit of what was stated in people and the relatives, the household. I understand that you want to keep a record of who's in the neighborhood or whatsoever, sex offenders and felonies and all of that. But the reason why I'm doing that, I want to do some research. So it's 3-2, 4-1. 4-1. 4-1. So the nominated votes have it.
Thank you, Commission.
All right. Item 5.
Mr. Mayor, the next item is a resolution that's before you, and I'll read the resolution. This is Resolution 26-05, resolution of the City of Alachua, Florida, accepting the annual comprehensive financial report and management letter for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2025, providing an effective date. The appropriate motion at the appropriate time is to pass Resolution 26-05 as read by title.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, Robert Bonetti, Finance Administrative Services Director. Good evening, Commissioners, Mrs. Vice Mayor, and Mr. Manager. The CRA meeting sort of gave it away, but we've concluded the audit for fiscal year 25. Purvis Gray has done their usual inspection of our financial statements. And once again, we have an unmodified, clean opinion. I'm sorry, Ron, I stole the thunder. Before I bring Purvis Gray, Ron Whiteside's up here to present the results. I will say this, we have received our 15th consecutive award from the Government Finance Officers Association for our audit that we submit to them every year for review. Every year they make comments, and every year we respond to those comments and hopefully improve our document year to year. So with that, I will let Ron Whitesides come up here and present the audit results.
Thank you, Rob. Ron Whitesides with Purvis Gray and Company. I'm a partner with the firm, and I'm in charge of your outside independent audit that you get every year as required by Florida statutes. You already met Andrew when he spoke earlier. Andrew runs the fieldwork team, and we're the leadership group of your audit team. This process actually starts in the summer. We come out with 3 to 4 auditors, spend several days in the summer looking at your processes and controls. And then we come back in December and complete the audit. We're here for a week or so at that time. Then we have exit meetings with staff, finalize the reports, draft the financial statements, and come here tonight to present them. So you're on the timeline of best practices. We try to finalize these March 31st, which y'all did, in order to submit for the annual comprehensive financial statement award that Rob mentioned. So we have a presentation. Of course, we've got the book, but rather than drag you through the book and all the detail that's in that, I'm going to follow this presentation, which is going to look very similar to the one you saw in your CRA meeting. So I will probably move a little faster through a few of these things because you've heard it once before already on a lot of these items. Okay, just like with the CRA, we conducted a financial statement audit. So that's an opinion on your financial statement. Florida statute also requires that we do a couple of examination letters that deal with how you handle excess funds, how you invest them. We also perform a federal single audit this year. Single audits are required when you get certain levels of grant assistance. We're finishing up the ARPA funds that were awarded a few years ago. So the last of that was expended this year. So we audited that activity. And then we also issue a report on internal controls over financial reporting to communicate if there's any issues in the internal processes you have to get complete and accurate financial statements. The conclusions, we issued an unmodified opinion. Like Rob indicated, that is a clean opinion. That's what you want to get. That's the highest form of assurance your auditor can give you. We did have what's called an emphasis of matter paragraph in that opinion. That is a standard item when you adopt a new accounting principle. There was a new accounting standard that the GASB, which writes governmental accounting standards, issued that we adopted this year that deals with recording paid time off for employees. It expanded the liability that we record for that to capture not only time paid at termination, but also time that has been earned and likely to be utilized prior to termination. So it expanded that. I think the figure for the city was about $1.3 million to capture that additional time. I mentioned we issue a letter on internal controls over financial reporting. That is a clean report. We have no recommendations to communicate. So your internal processes to generate complete and accurate numbers are working as intended. And we also conducted that single audit on the ARPA funds. So the last of that was expended as in prior years on water system improvements. Grant funds come with a lot of additional compliance requirements that we are required to look at. And you all have complied with all of those things. So there's a clean report. On the compliance with how you handle your excess fund investments, Florida statute requires that you not be speculative with city funds, that you prioritize liquidity and security over rate of return. Your practices and policies conform with those requirements. And finally, the Auditor General requires us to issue another letter that communicates, amongst other things, whether the city is in what's called a financial emergency, which you do not. You are not meeting those criteria, and we have no other findings in that letter. The button is sticking, I think is what's happening. There we go. Okay. A couple of other items to communicate. So auditors communicate certain required things to governing bodies. One is that financial statements do contain estimates. The big ones in the city's financial statements are the net pension liability by your participation in the Florida retirement system and the other post-employment benefit liability. You hire external actuaries that do those calculations. We do audit those reports and the data that you provide the actuaries, but those are very significant and they do change a lot from year to year. So some years we'll see significant impact on the financial statements when we get to those. This year it didn't have a real big impact though. As I mentioned, we did adopt that new accounting standard on compensated absences. Nothing else changed. All of your disclosures and the practices you apply are appropriate for governmental entities. This next one's an important one. We did not have any significant adjustments in this audit. So if your auditors are coming in and making a lot of adjustments, that's a red flag for you that staff maybe either doesn't have enough training or enough staff to do the things that are necessary. We have none of those. So your staff does a very good job of getting ready for audit. The books are clean, and it allows us to conduct an efficient and timely audit. And then were there any other difficulties? There were not. All right, we'll take a quick look at some of the numbers. So this is the general fund, and these numbers come right out of the bound report. But again, as Andrew mentioned, we don't have prior year numbers in that report. So this is a nice way to look at it. So this is the general fund's income statement for the year, and about a third of the way down, that first highlighted row on total revenues, you can see there was $1 million increase in revenues versus the prior year. Most of that increase is coming from the tax line item, and most of what is in the tax line item is property taxes. So you'll see that line item went up $847,000. About $750,000 of that was increased property tax revenue. You did not do any millage adjustments, but there was growth in the city and in the valuations driving that increase. The other increase you'll notice in revenues, intergovernmental is up. So that's the half-cent sales tax, state revenue sharing, and some miscellaneous grants. In this case, the increase was driven by a public safety grant that you had in 2025. Total expenditures, which is the second highlighted row. You can see have increased $3.5 million. That increase primarily comes from the capital outlay line item. So these are capital projects that you had going on during the year. You see that is up $2.5 million over the prior year. The major projects dealt with Northwest 86th Drive, I believe it was, infrastructure improvements, a lease for body cameras that was approximately $1 million lease agreement for the police department, and then various other things. But the body cameras and the 86th Drive improvements were the big ticket items. Look at the other categories, you'll see there are various increases. Physical environment stands out as a percentage increase larger than some of the others. That was because of storm debris cleanup in 2025. General government, public safety, a lot of that is payroll and benefits. And I think there was some assistance through the Alachua County Housing Authority this year for a couple $100,000 that also fell into general government. So at the bottom of the statement there, you'll see there are some transfers in. Those come from the electric fund. There was a net of, there's $2 million that comes from the electric fund, but a net of $948,000 after transfers out of the general fund to other funds. And then $1 million of other financing sources. That's the body camera lease. The way we count for that is we book a proceeds for the lease, the loan, and then an expense for the capital outlay. And you'll see there is some debt service this year, a couple $100,000. That is also the body camera lease as we now pay down that debt. So for the year, there was a $1.2 million deficit in the general fund. So expenditures exceeded revenues versus a $280,000 excess the year before. And most of that is coming from those capital project activities that we had in 2025. Where does that leave us? This is the general fund's balance sheet, so the assets and liabilities. $10.3 million of total assets. That's primarily cash and investments versus $11.5 million in the prior year, so a $1.2 million decrease. That's the use of fund balance we just saw on the previous slide in the income statement. $1 million of liabilities. Those are short-term accounts payable and accrued obligations. The difference between the assets and liabilities is your fund balance position. So this is funds on hand at the end of each year. And what you'll see, if you look at the big numbers there, 3.6 million of it was assigned. What that means is it's earmarked for something else. In this case, it was your 2026 budget. So you use some of the funds on hand to balance that budget. So it's been spoken for. And then there's $5.4 million unassigned fund balance. So that's available for any governmental purpose. Now, a lot of times there's a question that's asked, well, what's an appropriate level of fund balance for a local government to have? For that, we look at the GFOA, the Government Finance Officers Association recommendation. They say you should have at least 2 months in reserve. At 30%, which is where you're at now, that's about 3.5 months. So you're in line with those recommendations. And now we'll take a look at the enterprise funds. Again, we're going to start with the income statement. You'll see total revenues are up 2.1 million. That's coming from the electric services department. That is primarily being driven by a cost of power increase. So if you look at the expense line item, you see purchase power, the first expense item's up over $1 million. Natural gas, of course, you don't generate power here, you buy bulk power. The cost of that power is primarily driven by natural gas prices. Costs were up this year. That's a pass through to your customers. So that cost of power goes up, the revenue goes up. It has also increased about $500,000 for increased handbill projects. So that's where you're providing some level of service in excess of the standard level of service for a utility customer, probably some infrastructure work. So that also drove some of the increase in electric revenues. And again, that's essentially a recover your costs type of deal. If we look at the other, in total, expenses are actually down $27,000 versus the prior year, despite that power cost increase. And that is because of the decrease you see in the billing and admin line. Now, the way you account for administration and a number of the operating costs of the utilities is you have an internal service fund that supports the utilities. That fund charges these enterprise funds each year for their services. So what you're seeing here is a decrease from one function of the city to another function of the city and what they're charging for that service. The reason that is happening is we estimate that as part of the budgetary process. Your staff does each year. We overshot it a little bit in 2024. We corrected for that in 2025. So in 2024, the internal service funds made about $1 million. This makes up for it this year to reverse that. You don't really seek to accumulate funds over there. It's supposed to be a break-even proposition. So that's why you're seeing the swing between years. The real number of the cost of services is somewhere between those two figures you see for the 2 years, somewhere between 4 million and 2.3 million, probably closer to 3 million a year. But that's just a function of how those costs get budgeted and charged. Then as we move on down the income statement, there is $3 million of non-operating revenue. That's the use of those grant funds from the ARPA project for the water capital projects. And at the bottom section there, we have $2 million of transfers out. That's the transfer to the general fund from the electric fund. So bottom line number, we're at a positive $7 million versus 5.4 the year before. And we'll see on the balance sheet where those funds went. They did not end up in cash and investments. That's the first line item. That's current assets. You'll see that's actually down slightly. What is up is capital and non-current assets. So that's been invested back into the infrastructure of the utility system. A lot of projects going on in the water system. There are also electric and wastewater projects going on. So you see those profits in the utility and the grant funds that contributed to them being put back into the infrastructure of the system. In the liabilities section, the middle section there, you'll see current liabilities are down $2.6 million. That's the earning of the grant funds again. They were a liability until you earned them, so that is now reduced as those funds have been utilized. And non-current liabilities, which are long-term debts, are also down as you pay down your outside long-term debt, as well as some internal advances between funds that you had. And lastly, the net position then, difference between the assets and liabilities, 44 million of it is invested in capital. So it's electric lines and transformers and water and wastewater lines that's not spendable, net of the debt outstanding on those assets. And then 15 million is unrestricted, which again is available for whatever use the city deems appropriate. If we do that same metric where we look at expenditures, you'll see it's 92% of a year's expenses, so it's substantial. The thing about utilities, because they are so very capital intensive, and what the financial statements don't communicate, the financial statements communicate cash and obligations and your financial position. They don't tell you anything about financial condition of infrastructure. They don't tell you anything about your growth needs. They don't tell you about whether you're reaching capacity limits. So the financial statements don't communicate those things. Typically what you see with utility systems is a lot of these funds ends up going back into the infrastructure at such times as you do major improvements or expansions to those systems. And that is it. Any questions? I should have said, actually, I didn't say this. I didn't give Rob his props. to start with. No, they do a great job. They do a great job of getting ready for us. This audit goes smoothly. Um, hasn't always been that way, but since Rob has been on the job as your finance director, they've always gone that way. So a great job by your internal staff.
Thank you. Any questions?
Excuse me. Thank you. I appreciate the in-depth detail and particularly the notes. That's what I when we talk about like analysis, it's one thing to just provide the numbers, but to provide the context behind the numbers, like that's true analysis, and it gives us as the public and leadership better ideas of like what's going on versus just seeing these changes. One of the questions I do have is Purvis and Gray has been auditing the city for how many years?
I think it was 2008, if I remember correctly, but I'm not positive of that. But I think it was around that time that we were hired as your auditors.
Okay. Um, Under the, I guess, generally accepted government auditing standards, what is the recommended rotation for auditing firms? Because if we're looking at 18 years of that auditing, what are we looking at in terms of like moving forward or like working with like a partner auditing firm? Like when we look at going forward, like how do we, because we understand that like over time when we're dealing with like auditing and that stuff, just to avoid, any potential complacency or that stuff, right? Doing our due diligence.
Yeah.
What does that look like for us?
Yeah. Great question. And one that gets discussed plenty in the audit world. Actually, there is no recommendation from the Government Accounting Office, the Auditor General of Florida, the GAO of the federal government, the AICPA, the Public Company Accounting Oversight Board, which handles SEC audit work. None of them recommend audit firm rotation. The reason is that there have been studies performed of audit firm rotation or change in auditors. And the conclusion of those studies has been that audit failure, which is defined as material incorrect financial statements being issued, is most likely to happen in the first 1 to 2 years of your auditor's tenure as your auditor because they're less familiar with your organization. So I'll start by saying that is not any recommendation that anyone makes. Now, international audit standards, which we don't generally apply in the United States, but they do recommend, and as does the Public Accounting Oversight Board, which handles SEC work, that the audit partner of the firm be rotated out. I think it's every 10 years. And I have been your partner since we came back, if that was 2008 or whenever that was. So we do sometimes do that. We either rotate out the audit partner or the audit manager, who would be Andrew in this case, that supervises the engagement. So those are not common, but if there's concern about a fresh perspective, that's usually how it's handled. My take on it is anytime, we're a professional service. So if the city's not receiving good service and staff is the most knowledgeable, but you guys obviously can judge that as well, that you should change auditors in year 2 if that's the case. If you are getting good service, there's no indication that changing firms for the sake of change actually helps anything.
Okay. Because I think the original, I guess, analysis on whether or not auditor rotation was, I think, from the 2003 study from there. And I'm not familiar if GAO came out with any additional studies after that. But just jumping back to, I think the point you mentioned, and I think I read this, lead managing partners for the auditor. So usually you'll have, I guess, like the main auditing firm, and then 10 years you can bring on not a subsidiary but a partner firm to guide through like 1 or 2 years, and then it switches back.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that. It's not something I know of at either the in the Florida marketplace or with local governments or publicly traded companies. So that's something, if it exists, I'm not really aware of it or the context of it.
No worries. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, I move we adopt Resolution 26 05, accepting the annual comprehensive financial report and management letter for the fiscal year ended September 30th, 2025.
I'll second.
It's been moved. It's been moved to second. Is there any comments on the motion? If not, we'll take a vote. I start with
Aye.
Commissioner Fletcher.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will vote aye.
Commissioner Livingston.
Thank you. Aye.
Vice Mayor Shelby.
Mr. Benetti, thank you to you and your staff for the tremendous job that you do. Congratulations on the award. 15 years. I'm getting old. That is great.
All of us. Mr. Mayor, if I may interrupt, it's from the top down.
Yes.
Y'all set the example. Y'all set the vision. Goes to the manager. Manager has expectations, and it flows all the way down. Without the departments, Commissioner Wilford would have said, "I deflect." Yes, I do deflect, because none of us here can look good without those below us and those alongside of us. And so, congratulations to everyone.
Thank you for sharing that. And to our accountants, thank you. Each year, you provide spectacular reports at work. And I'll say this, when I find a good accountant, I stick with that accountant in my personal life. So I vote aye.
I vote aye as well, and thank you for all your services. And like I always say, we better together. So I vote aye as well.
Mr. Mayor, could we just give that award a hand clap?
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I was just about to suggest that because I had stated that it seemed like this is a hand clapping meeting.
And I will
I'm
add
glad.
that application is being submitted to GFOA with for their comments, and they make good comments. Every year they find something. It's not material. It's how we present the report, and we address those issues, and we make our report better every year. So, but thank you to all my staff, and thank you, Purvis Gray.
Thank you. We'll move to item B.
And that would be me again. Good evening, Robert Benetti, Finance Administrative Services Director. As mentioned in previous meetings, this item, we promised to bring it back. This was an item that originally was presented while I was apparently taking my sabbatical. But on October 27th of last year, um, it got pushed back because of issues that arose and questions and suggestions. And we've made our best attempt to address those. Um, um, the item itself is converting from our current in-house stored data for the ERP system, which is Enterprise Resource Software, um, and going to the cloud with the existing company. This not only would save us the time and cost of going out to bid, it would save us extreme amounts of money on a new system. Additionally, it eliminates the risk of data conversion greatly. Extends the life of our ERP system, and actually, it helps us do our audit and provide our auditors with the access they need. We basically hand them 2 laptops, and they go wherever they want to go. They can't modify data, but they can see all the backup, and they can see all the transactions that they wish to test. So this system has served us well. It actually has reduced some of the time we spend. We used to have to gather paper, take it to them. Then even more cumbersome was putting the paper back, because you had to put it back in the order that it was originally there. So things we accomplished since October. Um, we got BSNA. Not well. First of all, it was mentioned at the time that they were unregistered with some bids. They all used third parties. Uh, they were reinstated within 4 hours the very next day. I don't know. I didn't pursue where the fault lied, whether it was the state or the third party that administers it. But nonetheless, they weren't registered. They got registered. There was an issue with the escalator on the maintenance. Um, we've now managed to get them to a straight 5% every year. And in fact, we're going to save a little more money because that doesn't start till a year after implementation, go live. And so they've had increases in 2026. In January, they went up. And quite frankly, they don't anticipate that this will be done before next January. And so we'll be holding 2025 rates through at least 2026. We also going to eliminate some of the staff time that it takes to maintenance the machines here that house it currently. And so this is a wise decision. A new ERP system can cost anywhere upwards of $700,000 for a municipality this size. BSNA houses 13 modules that we utilize. In other places, they may have more, but we don't do tax collection down here or anything like that. This item's for a total PO of $170,910. It's broken down as follows: $54,610 for maintenance. That's the initial annual maintenance fee. 10 years ago, with the current system, we paid $18,500 approximately. We're currently paying about $27,000. So it is doubling almost. But that's the cost of doing business these days, whether it's subscription software. They also have the housing of the data, and it's their liability too. They have to deal with partners like Microsoft. Microsoft doesn't adhere to any flat increases. They're agreeing to 5%, and that includes what they pay staff. So aside from that, we're looking at project management and planning fees. That's $32,100. Implementation and training is $61,200 for over 30 days of implementation and training. And travel, they have to provide us with receipts for us to reimburse them. They're using essentially GSA and actual hotel costs. Um, we're allocating $23,000 to that. For a total of $170,910. So we request issuance of a PO to BSNA Software LLC in the amount of $170,910 and authorize the city manager to sign any necessary documents for the conversion to the cloud. If you have any questions.
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Yes.
Thank you. Rob, I apologize. I came in halfway through your presentation, so I apologize if this is a repeat question. So the 170,910, that's obviously that's now. That's a one time. That's now. What is it per year after that? I understand the 5% increase part, but I don't think the whole 170 and change is every year. Correct.
No.
Right. Okay.
Mr. Mayor, actually, our initial fee that we have to pay up front is $32,100 for the project management and planning fees.
Okay. Gotcha.
Once we have this addendum signed, within 4 to 6 weeks, we'll start the planning process. They'll start assigning a team to develop this planning process from here to whenever we go live. The annual maintenance fees would not be paid until after go live.
Okay.
And any fees we paid on the current system would be credited for the months that remained that we paid for, because we pay one fee a year. So in October, we're paying for all of 26, 27. And if we go live, say January, we will have the remainder of that credited towards the 54,610. Very important, because they do their increases in January. And so depending on when we go live, we're still at 2025 rates.
Rates, yeah.
With a 5% escalator. Most places need at least 8% to accommodate increased costs and payroll of their staffing raises. And so 5% is a bargain.
Do we have any, I would not hold you to this, but any concept about when we possibly might go live? How long it would take?
Right now, because we sort of missed the window we were in, it's probably going to be either fourth quarter or early first quarter of next calendar year.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So we're touching on a topic that I'm very familiar with. When we're talking about issues with data conversions, can you elaborate more on that?
Well, when you're migrating from one system to another, a brand new system, it's a lot easier, especially like our first migration in 2016. I can't say enough about BSNA. Migrating from American Data Group to BSNA, we checked every single GL. Every area had to be checked to ensure that the numbers were as they were. This will be a lot easier because we have a system and we can pull better reports, in fact. Our IT will be doing backups. BSNA will be doing backups, and we have to check the integrity of the data. Once it's converted, that it matches the data that we have at the time.
So the data, well, because we're already in BSA on-prem, the data modeling should still be the same moving it into the cloud, or are we looking at adjustments with that?
There shouldn't be hardly any adjustments unless we ask for them. Like we did geo mapping when we went from American Data Group to BSNA. Number one, because they're geostructure was different. Number two, because American Data Group was all over the place. Sometimes it was 7 digits, sometimes it was 8 digits, and we mapped it out so we would have consistency. Sometimes supplies, the GL ended in 5200. Sometimes it ended in 5207. That's that's not in fact actual, but that's an example of what we had with the old system. And so it was very critical and intensive staff time making sure that those things migrated correctly.
When we talk about cloud services, usually they're using one of the big three cloud providers. Which provider are we on in which region? Are we on like the
I
government
don't know
region?
what region, but I know they pay a hefty sum to Microsoft.
Okay, so Azure and then probably the government region there. Does BSA have an export process? If we say we do 5 years, 10 years down the line, we're looking to do another migration, but to a new platform, say like Workday, PeopleSoft, one of those. Do they have the capability right now to be able to have that transition in the future, or are we looking at it like a harder lock-in? Say like we're looking at an Oracle to PeopleSoft or a PeopleSoft to Workday conversion, where data modeling that is a lot harder.
I don't have an answer right now for that, quite frankly.
No worries. It's a very
Yeah,
I recognize
that's
these are like very like in-depth technicals. And so you mentioned that this implementation could be fourth quarter of this year. Is that correct? Or fourth quarter of next year?
fourth quarter of this year or first quarter of 27.
And that's partly to do with like the we're moving from BSA specifically on-prem to that's the ease of that conversion.
Well, it has to do primarily with allocating staff to us. We're not the only one migrating. Um, we had a slot where if we'd approved it in October, it's pretty much the same time, because if we would have approved it in October, we probably would have been migrating around June. So it's just a matter of dotting I's, crossing T's, checking, and making sure, establishing new processes for certain areas that where the current system doesn't allow us to set those processes, but the new one does. Um, I know the planning department's eager to get on this. Um, it'll allow them to set more processes in place. And it allows for more consistency in checks. And that's accountability.
When we talk about like the ERP portion, are we looking at I guess like all aspects of the cities runs through this in terms of ERP, or is this only partial?
Okay, I wrote a list so that I wouldn't forget, because there's 13 of them. I thought I wrote a list. Well, I've got it here somewhere, I believe. I can tell you this. Let me see if I go down alphabetically. You have accounts payable. You have building. You have business license. You have cash receipts. You have general ledger. Oh, I'm sorry, fixed assets, general ledger. Um, most aspects of the city are under this. Utility billing, and they all talk to each other, because the fees from building are collected at the utility counter. Same with the planning.
Okay, so it's not like you're coordinating multiple source systems.
No,
So it's all going through this one.
we had about 3 or 4 different systems before we migrated to this.
Okay. No, that's awesome. Again, comparing it to like my experience with what we're dealing with at UF with the Empowering Initiative, it's a 4-year program on switching our ERP system for the university at scale from PeopleSoft to Workday. And so, like a lot of the things that we've seen with what we're trying to improve at UF is exactly what we're already addressing here. So that's really great to hear. I would just be a little cautious about expected deadlines on conversions. So maybe that Q1 is probably a better guess, just because of what I've seen from other orgs, I would say, on how that plays out, and especially because like we don't have dedicated like data engineers or data architects or anything like that.
If I may, I will say this. In 2016, when we signed that contract, was I believe it was January of 2016. We really didn't start any in-depth migration until June, and we were up October 1, and with the new fiscal year. We ran two systems for a while, just to continue checking the integrity. But I cannot say enough, at least BSNA back then, about the job they did. And they trained us in that time. I expect it'll be about the same.
All right.
Hopefully.
No worries.
But we'll keep eyes open, because that's what we need to do on our jobs, is ensure the integrity of that data.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. All right,
For
Mr. Mayor.
motion, I move one, we authorize the issuance of a purchase order to BSNA Software LLC in the amount of $170,910. Authorize the city manager to execute any necessary documents to proceed with the BSNA conversion to cloud.
I'll second.
It's been moved to second. Is there any comments from this public on the motion? If not, and once again, thank you. If not, we take a vote. I'll start with Commissioner Williams,
Aye.
Commissioner Fletcher,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to thank staff for this. I appreciate you guys going back with our suggestions from the commission and addressing them, and then coming back, because from what I'm looking at with this plan, it looks really solid. And that's me speaking from my professional experience, and as well as me speaking as a commissioner. I'm looking forward to this, so I will be voting aye.
Commissioner Ringston,
Same. Aye.
Vice Mayor Shirley Brown,
Aye.
and Mayor Welch, aye. And we thank you and we appreciate you.
Thank you.
Now we'll move to comments from City Manager, City Attorney. Oh, I'm sorry. Trying to get up out of here. Comments from the citizens. Is there any? Now we'll move to comments from the City Manager and City Attorney.
No comment, Mr. Mayor.
City Attorney,
No comment, Mr. Mayor.
we have comments and discussion from the commission.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to say again, while it was very rainy, the 11 Amp concert was it was great. I think his name was Bill Rogers, a community member who plays the electronic xylophone. I guess they have those, and a keytar, which is like the guitar that has keys on it. I played those, and that was great. And then Noah played the saxophone, and then Mr. Solomon, I think it was Solomon G, performed as the headliner on that, and his performance. It was very engaging, and so I can't wait for what's coming up next Friday with that. And so again, also I attended the Steps. I think it's the Step Stronger walk on Saturday. Had a great time with that. We walked through the community. as well as hitting up the farmers market as well, which definitely also go out and support. Lots. I'm now going to be going there for my weekly vegetables because it's a good selection what we have out there, and that's pretty much it, Mr. Mayor. Sorry, Mr. Mayor. Uh, Again, next Friday, the 11 Amp concert, 6 p.m. The great lineup going on. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Anyone else?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just hoping that everyone had a very relaxing Easter with their family and friends. Yeah, looking forward to. I agree with Commissioner Fletcher. I was also there at the concert. I think if it was good weather, it actually, I believe it would have been a great turnout. I think, unfortunately, you can't help Mother Nature. So, looking forward to the next concert. They've really got a wide selection of type of music that they've booked, and so I think it'll appeal to the entire community the next 5 Fridays. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Mayor, I'm just going to add, also went to the farmer's market, both farmer's market. Absolutely amazing vegetables. Like Commissioner Fletcher said, I've got so many, so many. I'm very excited for them. Also wanted to give a shout out to the rec department for the egg hunt. I thought that was fantastic, organized. The Mabane alumni, them helping out, I think was also fantastic to, get everybody moving and in the right direction. Reminder, election day is next week, reminding everybody to go out and vote next Tuesday. Also, Chief, to continue to keep us safe, staff to continue doing the great jobs that you're doing, and thank you for that, all of that you do every single day. It's much appreciated for everybody in the community. I'm attending and hosting at Lawton Childs Elementary School this Wednesday for a literacy event. Going to try to push as much as I can Wednesday night with another peer with my company. See how that goes. It's their first time doing that. So I'm excited for that. And I think that's it, Mayor. I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Vice Mayor.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I wasn't able to attend the music festival. I was at a conference in Orlando, and one of the highlights, there's a program that's called Feed Our Children. So I'll be getting more information about that. I did return for the Easter egg hunt. Commissioner Jennifer was there as well. It was fantastic. You saw the video. So thank you, Mr. Damon, Mr. Jag. I think Dollar General, Walmart, just be friends. Mabane alumni. Did I miss anybody? And all of the parents and grandparents that were there with those beautiful children. It was fantastic. So thank you for all the work that you did. Last thing, April is Child Abuse Prevention Month. Great. So please, let's protect our children. That's it. Oh, Mr. City Manager, feel better.
Well, I thank each and every one of you for coming to the meeting. I thank all the staffs. And I did watch the video of the Easter egg hunt. I'm like, oh boy, I seen a whole lot of people running. I couldn't do that. And and the walk, I definitely couldn't have did that one. But it was so great to see the city enjoying themselves as such. That was awesome. And I wish we can create some more events where we can just bond together. That was great. I watched the video now. I wasn't there. But it seemed like everyone had a great time. So I really love it. So with that being said, motion for
I'll
adjournment.
motion to adjourn, Mayor.
Second.
All in favor to be adjourned?
Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you all.